Los pronombres de complemento directo e indirecto usados juntos. Here we're using direct object pronouns and indirect object pronouns together. Let's look at this happy couple. Me encanta la elegante blusa verde. Sí, amor. Pues entramos. Let's go inside. Te la compro ahora mismo. Te, you should know. He's talking to her. Okay, that's you. Compro. I buy you right now. I buy it for you right now. La, ¿qué es la? La es la elegante blusa verde. Blusa. Te la compro. Ahora mismo significa right now. Ahora mismo is right now. Let's look at the grammar in Spanish. For you, it, translate it to English. For you, it, I buy right now. Which one is direct? Which one is indirect? Remember that if you are translating it as for, that's generally going to be indirect. So first we have indirect object, and then we have the direct object. Okay, verb plus anything else. Okay, or plus, let's say, just predicate. And if it's mentioned, the subject is going to be over here. So this could have been, yo te la compro ahora mismo. Okay. For this sentence, the only place you can put te la is in front of the verb. So you can't put it back here. You can't put it over here. You can't put it in your pocket. You got to put it right here before the verb. Okay. Let's see. Let's erase that. Let's look at these other examples. Paula nos está devolviendo las botas. You got nos there, nos, me. Okay, wait a minute. So let's look over here. Oh, that's right. You don't have a list. You don't have a list here. But we did just do these. So let's look at the pronouns again. So the direct object pronouns are these. Oops. And the indirect object pronouns are as follows. Okay. Remember that up here you have the greatest hits of the pronoun world, the Spanish pronoun world, and then third person, singular and plural, these are going to change. These are going to be lo, la, los, las here, le, les. And then as you'll see in the reflexive chapter, there's going to be a se here for both of them. And then for indirect object pronouns, let's put se here in parentheses because we're going to see se here also. Okay, so these sentences, they feature the greatest hits. So is that an indirect or a direct object pronoun? Well, let's think about it. Paula nos está devolviendo las botas. This is returning. Do you remember I told you this is to be returning something? Is returning something to us. Is returning the boots to us. Okay. Actually, in English, you don't need to put to here, so that could be confusing. Let's translate that. Paula nos está devolviendo las botas. And I say it's confusing because then you might not know if it's an indirect object pronoun or a direct object pronoun. So let's see, the book translation is this. Paula is giving us back the boots. Okay. Paula is giving the boots back. So if you put us over here, it would have to be to us. You can only do that with some verbs where you might have it right after the verb or a little bit later. Okay, but I wanted you to see that other option. So to or for us, that would make this an indirect object pronoun. Plus, also consider what is receiving the action of the verb. Am I returning us, or am I returning the boots? Okay, or is she? She is returning the boots. Botas, las botas, so that's the direct object pronoun, or sorry, that's the direct object, and then the direct object pronoun is this one. All of these are direct objects. She lends or loans shoes. Okay, receives that action. Okay, receives this action. Pide, asks for something. Bolso. And actually in Spanish, there's no for here. The for only shows up in English. So it also means demands. That's a stronger word, but demands the purse. Okay, so there's no for or to there in English to trip you up. So that's another way to think of pedir. Okay, me compró una blusa. Okay, so these all receive the action of the verb. These are all direct object pronouns. Okay, so I told you the order: indirect and then direct. IODO, IODO, IODO for all of these. And it looks like you only have practice with the third person singular and plural. Your book really likes the third person. Okay, those are all third person singular and plural over here too. I'll give you some examples with other pronouns in a minute. But first, ojo. Ojo means look out. It means eye, but it means watch out for this. Okay, le changes to se, les changes to se when it's followed by a direct object pronoun. This is a mistake, I guess. They all should have been less here, but still, this is not wrong. So it's not wrong. They just put it in the wrong column, or they just forgot to put an S. Okay. So if you combine le with then lo, you're going to change le to se. I had someone tell me once that in Spanish we don't lay low, we say low. Now, you probably don't know any more than I do what that means, but that's an easy way to remember that you shouldn't say lay low, you should say low. Okay, and obviously you would pronounce it celo, not say low, but that just makes it easier to remember. Okay, and the same thing with Layla. Okay, Layla is a song by Derek and the Dominoes. Okay, Eric Clapton. So we don't Layla, we say la. And celos, celas. So this is all combinations of le or les with a direct object pronoun. Okay, so notice over here you didn't have to do that. There was no combination. But right here there's a combination. And now it makes it even harder to know if this is a singular or a plural. Paula le pide el bolso a mi hermana. Paula demands or asks for the bag from my sister. She asks that my sister give her back the purse. Okay. Paula se lo pide. So, because I don't know if this is one person, two people, I could still clarify like we did before with le. So actually right here, you see some clarification going on. A mi hermana. Le. This is what we learned before with the indirect object pronouns. You can clarify. And you can even still leave that in. Paula se lo pide a mi hermana. It's no problem. You can leave that in so that we know who this se is. And over here, I said that this one is not wrong, even though they should have put a plural there. That was their intention. It's not wrong because it could mean I lend him or her. Actually, guys don't lend their shoes to other guys, do they? So, I lend her my shoes. I lend them to her. Now, I guess that wouldn't make sense really in the plural. I lend them my shoes. Well, I guess if you lent more than one pair. Okay, but still, I think they should have put an example with less right here. So yeah, this could mean both. Yo se los presto. It could mean it actually means several things. I lend them. Okay. Los would be them. to her, maybe to him, doesn't have to be shoes, to them, to you, as in usted, and you also as in ustedes. It can mean many different things. So that's why we might also just leave this part in Spanish. Okay. And then another word about placement. Remember I told you to put this before the verb. If you have an infinitive, you can attach it to the infinitive. Also, if you have a present participle or gerund, the ing form, you can attach these two pronouns. These are called double object pronouns. You can attach the double object pronoun, or you can put it in front of the first verb, or you can attach it to the gerund or present participle. Okay? And then I said I did want to give you some examples where you didn't have third person, a third person direct object pronoun. Okay, here you have singular and plural. Okay, so I'm thinking, well, I can't think of an easy example. I can think of some harder ones, but yes, I think I'll save those examples for another day.